What's going on, everybody? Dottz Gaming here, and welcome to my updated Magicka Necromancer PvP build for the Elder Scrolls Online Harrowstorm patch. So my horror build has gotten a huge overhaul from the way it was last patch. I wanted to really fix up my macro. I wasn't overly happy with how his build was. It was okay, but it wasn't the best build in the world. And going into Harrowstorm, my goal was to make all my PvP characters as good and as optimized as I physically could. And we have come up with something really, really special for Magro. I love the build that I'm running right now. We've moved into the Harmony Grave Robber style of play, and let me tell you, this build slaps, and I'm having a really good time on it. It works in Cyrodiil, Battlegrounds, duels, however you want to run. You don't have to really change anything for this build to run it. It works in pretty much most PvP situations, and you can just slot like the Res Ultimate back bar if you're going to do some group play, because Necromancers just do really well in groups. But as I always say in all my build videos, guys, this is just what I like and what I'm using and what is working for me. If you would change something or want to run something different, feel free to go ahead. This is just what I've been enjoying on my Magcro. And he's been really enjoyable. The setup is really, really fun. It just takes a little bit of practice to get the burst lined up, because you're trying to line up your Glacial Colossus, you're trying to line up a stun, you're trying to line up your Grave Robber synergy. There's a lot of moving parts, so this will take a little bit of practice to get used to, but once you nail it down, man, it's really, really fun. So moving into the build itself, we have our monster set, and that is two pieces of Balorg. This should also not be sturdy, by the way. It should be infused. Balorg is basically perfect for what we're trying to do on this build. It gives us a line of spell damage, and whenever you use an ultimate, you gain weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds equal to twice the amount of ultimate consumed. We are going for a big burst combination with our Colossus. That is what we are aiming for. So being able to get a huge burst to our spell damage during the time where we need it the most is going to give us the best chance of taking down our target. So Balorg is perfect for what we're trying to accomplish with this build. Our body 5-piece is a defensive set, and we are running Robes of the Swift. Buffer the Swift. We have a line of Maximum Magicka, 2 lines of armor, and it reduces the damage taken from players by 10%. Between Buffer the Swift, between our pet, we have so much defensive percent mitigation. 10% from each source. Granted, these are multiplicative, but still, you get a literal shit ton of defensive mitigation from this that can't be penned through. It is just straight up percent mitigation. So Swift combined with our pet, because we are running the mitigation pet, make us incredibly tanky. And the reason I am choosing to do this is because we lean so heavily on Harmony for our damage that I would like to have a defensive set here so that I can be tanky and kind of, kite up multiple opponents until I get that situation up where I got my ultimate, I have my Grave Robber synergy ready to go, and I can smack those two at the same time. And Harmony and Major Vulnerability will be able to carry the majority of our damage. And plus, as you can see from our unbuffed spell damage, our spell damage is also really, really high already. So I think we can afford to run Swift, and I think it's good to be able to have the defensive capability to give us the time we need to, like I said, kite out our opponents before we do our burst. Now, our front bar 5-piece is going to be New Moon Alkalite. So it's a line of spell critical, line of spell damage, line of penetration, and 464 spell damage, but it does increase the cost of our active abilities by 5%. I think Necromancer is one of the best classes equipped to run New Moon Alkalite, because you can run your Purge on the front bar and nearly mitigate the cost increase from New Moon Alkalite, which I really, really enjoy. The set just gives a shitload of offensive prowess. It's like every piece of this set is good. Extra crit means we have a bigger opportunity for a larger burst. One small line of spell damage and a huge line of spell damage, and then penetration to make sure that that burst hits as hard as it can. So New Moon Alkalite is the perfect front bar 5-piece for this build. We only need to front bar it so that on the back bar, we won't have that ability cost increase. So on the only bar it's active on, we have our Purge to help offset it. So it works really, really well. And then our back bar 2-piece is actually Willpower. So I went with Willpower for the back bar sword and board. I didn't think I needed another defensive set here. I wanted to go with something more offensive. not because we're going to use it for offense, just because the Magicka will give us better healing. So that is why we went with willpower on the back bar, just for the stronger heals. We have so much fucking mitigation in the build. We don't need more. So the healing here, is what we want. In terms of traits and all that jazz, we are running, like I said, pretty much all impen. This should not be sturdy, but it's not the worst thing that I have it at sturdy, because I do have a sword and shield in my back bar. But it's all impen. We are running 1 heavy, 1 medium, and 5 light. And we are running 3 tri-stat glyphs with 4 Magicka glyphs. And I think that pretty much covers the body. Jewelry, we are triple harmony, 2 Magicka recovery, and 1 spell damage. We are using a Nirnhoned Inferno Staff, rest in peace, Vamp Drain on the front bar with a weapon and spell damage glyph. And then back bar is just defending and either reinforced or Nirnhoned with a poison of your choice. In terms, I think I covered everything. Yeah, we got hit enchants, traits. Yeah, we hit everything. Got the gear weights, all that jazz. Okay, we're good. Anyway, skills. Our spammable is going to be Force Pulse. So Force Pulse gives Flame, Frost, and Shock damage. Up to 2 nearby enemies will take 8,800 additional Magicka damage if they're already afflicted with burning, chilled, or concussed. I hate the skulls. Every time I use the skulls, I switch away from the skulls. They feel clunky to me. They are way too slow. That's kind of like my biggest gripe with it. You know, it's a shame because the Gravelord passives are nice. I like the burst on the 3rd skull, but unfortunately, they just feel way too clunky to use when I'm out in a practical situation, and I just prefer the reliability that Force Pulse feels like it has by comparison. So we are running Force Pulse as our spammable. We have Stalking Blast Bones as our main burst ultimate. So you summon a skeleton from the ground. After 2.5 seconds, it runs and chases its target and explodes. Every second that the skeleton spends chasing its target, you increase the amount of damage on the explosion by 10% up to 50% and creates a corpse on death. So the way that this works now is it now jumps from 28 meters and it has a 28 meter range. So the secondary effect with the damage increase only happens during the time that the target spends running. So, or excuse me, that the Blast Bones spends running. So if you use your Blast Bones and your target does not move 28 meters away from where that Blast Bones was originally spawned, that secondary effect is basically doing nothing. Or if it's like they don't LOS or something. The skeleton must run in order to get that extra bonus. I still truly think that this secondary effect needs to be reworked since they changed the way that Blast Bones works and it jumps from such a far distance now. You know, I just think that the Major Defile that Stam has is a bit better than this, since this effect only works if the target is like super, if you use it and the target goes super far away and the Blast Bones can still catch it and it doesn't die in the meantime, or if they like LOS or something. But still, if you do get this to ramp up, it's going to deal a shitload of damage, so it is good for that reason, and it's much more reliable now. Unfortunately, we are using Flame Clench. This is our stun. I'm not happy about it being our stun, but it is what it is. I'm really not a fan of the totem. I've tried it, and I don't like it. Vamp Drain got nerfed into the ground. It's really unfortunate that Warden and Necromancer for the Magicka are kind of forced to use Flame Clench because their bursts synergize so much better with a Lightning Staff, but the Lightning Staff Clench no longer stuns, so we're kind of just stuck using Flame Clench. It's just kind of the best option we have. It's not bad, you know, our weave is a lot stronger. Our light attack Force Pulse weave is really strong, which is nice. But I'd be lying to you if I said that I wish I could use a Lightning Staff, but I just don't want to hold the full channel of Vamp Drain. And me personally, I don't like the totem. The totem is like more expensive a little bit too. So I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want to still use a Lightning Staff, you're gonna have to use Remote Totem. But I've tried it before and it's not my favorite skill. I don't like the delay on it. It's got a 2-second delay. I'm not really a huge fan of that, so I'd rather just use Clench. But you know, it's up to you guys. You can choose if you want to kind of modify this a little bit. You can use Remote Totem and use Lightning Staff, or you could use the Flame Staff and use Clench. It's really up to you. We have Expunge and Modify. It removes 2 negative effects from us and restores Magicka and Stamina for every negative effect removed. And while slotted, the cost of your abilities is reduced by 3%. This gives a shitload of sustain, purges us, gives us cost reduction to offset New Moon Alkalite. It is just an amazing skill for our front bar. Really, really strong. Love having this purge. Avid Boneyard is a AoE. Deals frost damage over 10 seconds, 12k of it. Consuming a corpse on cast will cause this to deal 50% more damage, which is pretty sweet. But the real reason we care about this is this synergy. You or an ally standing in the graveyard can activate the Grave Robber synergy, but it's going to be you, dealing 12k frost, 12.4k frost damage to enemies in the area and healing you for the damage done. Okay? And we have Harmony on. 3 pieces of Harmony, which increases this by 90%. All right? This shit is nuts. It's gonna deal a lot of damage. This is our big burst. This is what we're aiming to land. We're aiming to line up this Grave Robber synergy with the Colossus. Now, the Colossus deals 10k damage every time it smacks 3 times, and the final smash will stun all enemies for 4 seconds, and then the damage hit applies major vulnerability to any target hit for 8 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 30%. So you have this combined with Harmony and the Avid Boneyard synergy. It's a lot of burst damage in an AoE. Very, very fun. You also combine that to stick a Blast Bones in there too. You will be decimating large groups of enemies. It's really, really fun. But, you know, because the burst is so big, you do have to keep in mind it's got quite the cooldown on it. You got to work up to the Glacial Colossus, which costs 230 ultimate on this build. You have the Boneyard synergy with the synergy cooldown as well. So it is all something to consider. This build has really big burst. It's just a matter of making sure that you line it up properly. In terms of our back bar, we have Resistant Flesh. It's our burst heal. Also applies Minor Defile, which is really not the end of the world. The build can heal pretty well through it, and plus you know, most of the time nowadays, if you are being defiled by something that isn't a Stamcrow, it's minor anyway. And you also gain spell and physical resistance for half the amount healed for 3 seconds. So on top of our already redonkulous mitigation, we get even more resistance from Resistant Flesh. Mortal Coil is our build's primary hot and our corpse consumption skill, with the exception of Boneyard. So Mortal Coil does 15k healing over 12 seconds, and all allies between me and the corpse. And the scales off our highest offensive stat, doesn't cost anything, and we also restore some stamina over that duration, and it increases our healing done on that back bar by 3%. So it makes our Resistant Flesh stronger, which also gives us more resistance because it's doing more healing. We got some stamina regeneration, a hot, really, really good skill. Love this as my back bar healing. My back bar healing over time, excuse me. We also have the Spirit Guardian. Spirit Guardian does some minor healing every 2 seconds. It's around for 16 seconds, but the real reason we like this is 10% damage mitigation. So this and Swift give us a stupid amount of percent mitigation that cannot be penned through. It's just bam, stacked on top. It's really, really nice to make us tanky. We have Summoner's Armor. It's our major resolve buff, and it reduces the cost of Blast Bones in the Spirit Mender. So that's why we use it. We are using Mist Form. I do like Mist Form for this build. I like the tank ability that Mist Form gives me to kite. The reason that I use Mist Form on like a build like this is because my stamina is really low. I only have 14k stam. It's really, really low, and I'd rather use it for key dodge rolls, blocking, and CC breaking, and not for trying to kite. So in that case, I think Elusive Mist is really, really good because you can basically kite with your Magicka pool and not your stamina pool. You know, you don't have to sprint or try to dodge roll away while using like Race Against Time or something. I just think that Elusive Mist, especially with how tanky this build is, I think we can afford to take some of the extra damage that Vampire does. So in my opinion, Elusive Mist is a solid option. If you don't like to run Vampirism, feel free to use Race Against Time instead and drop Mist. Backbar Ultimate is really personal. You can do Temporal Guard if you want more healing. We already have a bunch of percent mitigation sources, so we don't exactly get the most return from this, but we do get some. Allows us to make some cheeky defensive plays as well. But if you're like, you know, I don't want to use Temporal Guard, you already got enough percent mitigation in the build, you can go for Ravenous Goliath if you want a defensive ultimate. You could also do the Sword and Board ultimate. Which would be amazing for this build as well. And then if you're in a group setting, I would also use Renewing Animation. Also would be very, very good. So your backbar ultimate is really, really personal. Just use whatever you want. 98% of the time, you're going to be aiming for your Glacial Colossus because there's a huge portion of your burst combo. That's the whole reason I did this, is like, I know we don't get the most benefit from this minor protection, but, you know, 98% of the time I'm using this anyway. So I figured, you know what, let's just get some minor stats back bar. So again, back bar ultimate, really personal choice. In terms of stats, on our front bar, we have 29.6k at maximum Magicka. Magicka is pretty low because we're using New Moon Alkalite, Swift, no Arcane, so it's kind of like a symptom of the gear that we're wearing, but it's not the end of the world. 33k maximum Magicka. We almost have 3k unbuffed spell damage, so that's why it's not really a big deal. 18.5k maximum health, 14k max stam, 1680 Magicka recovery. Like I said, almost 3k spell damage. 32.7% weapon critical, but that's going to go up from our potions anyway. 14k spell resist, 12.2k physical resist, back bars 18.8k spell resist, and 17k physical resist with 2800/3k crit resist, depending on if you have that like one sturdy piece like I do, or if you actually have all impen. And plus, this spell damage is only going to skyrocket too when you proc that front bar glyph too, because we got the Berserker glyph front bar, so that's just going to go even higher. We are using, like I said, the Apprentice Mundus. We are a vampire, and we're using Witch Mother's Potent Brew food to get this nice amount of recovery. Potion-wise, we're just using PvE spell power pots. We're using its Major Prophecy, Major Sorcery, and Restore Magicka. We don't, you know, I don't really have the bar space for degen. Don't really want to slot it, so we're just going to get it from our potions. CP-wise, 27 into Blessed. 56 into Elfborn, 42 into Spell Erosion, and 64 into Ellie Expert with 81 into Master at Arms and nothing into Thom. 66 into Ironclad, 54 into Resistant, 37 into Thick Skin, 43 into Hardy and Ellie Defender, and 27 into Quick Recovery. 66 into Warlord, 19 into Sprinter, 75 into Arcanist, 66 into Shadow Ward, and 44 into Tumbling. But that's the build, my friends. That is the updated horror build, Magicka Necromancer for Harrowstorm. I love this build infinitely more than the one I made last patch. It is been an absolute blast to play. Harmony Necromancer is just so freaking good. It's good solo. It's good in group environments. It's really, really fun. And if you haven't given it a try, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Like I said, it takes a little bit of practice at first to get used to lining up the Colossus, the Blast Bones, and your Boneyard, but once you start getting used to it, once you start practicing it and how to actually apply those skills in a practical situation, it is really enjoyable. So I got some Battleground footage for you guys of this build. You're going to see we had, I think, a 16.2k synergy on somebody, and I think that might have been even without the ultimate too. I don't quite remember, but we'll see it when we get into the video. But we got that for you guys right after this. So guys, if you enjoyed this build video, please smack a like on it. It really shows me that you like what I'm doing here with these builds. If you have any questions about the build, feel free to leave a comment below, and of course be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all of the builds I put out here on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching, really appreciate it. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Let's be the sandwichers this time and not the sandwichies. We got one guy up top, so we gotta watch out for them firing down on us. I'm actually gonna go up myself. See what we're working with here.
Oh my god! That was a 16.3k synergy! Oh my god! I sent that dude in the next fucking week!
Oh, we got rest. Give me your corpse.
But like, you know what I'm saying? They could keep the Blast Bones secondary effect. I feel like if they make the range of Blast Bones like 40 meters, you know, so you can cast it from a really far distance, and it'll close the gap.
We actually want to pull into here.
Use your corpse.
fuck, I didn't get anybody with that one. Oh, no. All right, good. We recovered our health, which is nice. Oh, we actually want to back up a little bit here. Yo, this is a good fucking Nightcore remix right here. Come and get it. Get in there, Blast Bones. Get in there, dude. Oh, let's go. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Yeah. Oh, I got you, friend. Oh, good. We got his fucking rem. He's done, dude. Send him packing. Dude, this macro build is so goddamn fun. I love it. So basically what happens is you're going to download the game and it's going to install like 50 gigabytes of extra shit. And then it's going to delete like some extra files when it's done. It's just a lot of temp files. That's why. It's all temp files. When it all said and done, it will be about 66 gigs. It just has a lot of temp files that it installs. Actually, I missed out of here. Goodbye. Oh, I took big damage. I took big damage from something. There we go. Good job, boys. Why does animation canceling look like you're not doing it properly? Can you make a vid on it for us if it's complicated? I already have a guide on animation canceling on my YouTube channel. I'm light attack weaving and weapon swap canceling the whole time. I'm dodge canceling too. A lot of people have a misunderstanding of what animation canceling actually is, and they think it's something more than it is. Like they think, oh, you should be able to fit, 4 different skills in one global. That's not how it works. Only certain actions can actually be animation canceled. So it just depends on what action you're looking to animation cancel. I have a guide on it though on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Yeah, if the Snipe Blade's gonna play like a prick, I'm not gonna play his game. Oh, that's double Necro Smash. No way do I live through this. No way do I live through this. Get the fuck out of here, boys. Let's go. Macro's feeling good, boys. Macro's feeling very good. Hell yeah, brother. Boop. Oh, right now I just have some Nightcore radio on, so it may have been. 1,000-foot crutch is a usual suspect for Nightcore. Just look at that synergy, bro! That's what I'm talking about, dude. Fucking love it. Actually took a dick load of damage there and I did not mean to. Whoa, bar swap there. All right. I'm also gonna borrow that corpse from me if you don't mind. So he's just gonna go into transformation. So we're pretty much gonna ignore this guy now. We're gonna go kill these guys. Gonna give these guys that big ol' synergy. Excuse me, green team. No, I almost got that guy. Fuck. I was hoping if I could have picked their healer out, I would have been able to take the other two guys. But I couldn't get the healer out. So guys, remember, this solo queue is an experiment. It's an experiment. All right, this is not going to stay in the game forever. They're experimenting with solo queue to see if it increases BG's population. What my guess, okay, if you want my educated guess from my experience with ESO, right? What I think is going to happen is that if they see an increase in the battleground population, they are probably going to make two separate queues. A group queue and a solo queue. If it doesn't go up at all, you know, then what's probably going to happen is they'll probably just go back to the old way. But dude, 13-1, man. In the build video. In a build video. Let's go.